Good morning. Welcome to the Pasquale Project. I am your host, Zeb Pasquale. What lies behind us and what lies ahead of us are tiny matters compared to what lies within us. Ralph Waldo Emerson. This morning, episode 4, I have a special guest. I've known him for a few years, and his name is Troy Aguila. He's one of the co-owners of Spry Society, the gym that I am currently working at. This episode is special to me because the last few episodes I've talked to really old friends of mine who I've been in the industry with for a very long time, but I wanted to take this opportunity to actually explore the inner philosophy and inner workings of my own place of work and the crux of the center point of where I try to send my message out to the world from, and it is the gym. And I do have wide interest in a large variety of subjects, but my own philosophy is that no matter whether it's physics or history or economics or education, none of those pursuits would be as good as they were without taking care of your body first, without lessons learned hard in the gym first, or physical vitality first. And so that's how I live my life. That's the message that I want to send. Bedrock. So my own journey within the training realm has been kind of long, but today I want to focus on the serendipitous way that I got to meet Troy and how we came to our current arrangement with the gym. And it's really very poetic, and it's really very fortuitous in the way everything turned out, in the way that kind of you focus on a long-term goal and you will get there, but through ways and means that you had no idea would even happen. That's the way it was for me. I'm pretty sure that's kind of the way it happened for Troy and his co-partners, but I want to let him speak to that. So for my end, I used to work at a gym where I met him, and he was that kind of burly, very strong, very quiet guy that would show up for a few months and then disappear for a few months. Very nice, very, very approachable, hospitable. I left the gym and I started my own gym at the time, CrossFit Nerd, and I was helping out teaching kids, and all of a sudden Troy just shows up out of nowhere. Like, I didn't even see him approach the park. He was just there like a ninja, and he asked he straight up asked me if I offer apprenticeship programs because he's opening up a gym of his own. And color me surprised, because I would not have, honestly, dude, I would not have pegged you as the type to open a gym, but there it was. And so I think at the time I was just starting to apprentice someone else, Eric Perez. Miss you, man. Love you, man. So I asked my co-partners at the time the possibilities of also taking on not just another apprentice, but Troy was partnered with another guy named Renee. Love you, Renee, too. I'll hope to have him on here as well. But they were looking to open up a gym, and they wanted me to help them just learn, A, how to coach, and B, how to run a gym. And at the time, I was kind of new in the running the business thing myself. But opportunities at Rich don't come along every day, and I know the cost of saying no to things like that is worse than the cost of actually saying yes and messing up. So I took them on, and we had a great time, and we met several times a week, and I literally taught them everything I knew. I had no idea what pricing structure to give outside of just regular charging for time and everything, but we had a great time. Like, those were some really awesome times for me, and I think for them. And some things went south, which I covered in the past episodes and other podcasts I've been a guest of, as far as what happened with that gym. But long story short, I lost the gym in a very, very fast way. And just, it was the poetry of this situation was that they had come to me to ask me to help them learn how to coach and learn how to run a business. And then all of a sudden I'm out of business. And the idea was actually supposed to be by my previous co-partner or partner to approach them and to see if they would have me as a coach, and how the tables have turned. And it was cool because I was just coming to realize that I did not necessarily enjoy the ownership aspect of running a business, but I did learn to respect it a lot. And I do truly love just being on the floor and being a coach. So it was poetic for me, it was poetic for them, because their job as owners were to look for hungry, professional, good coaches, which is something I wanted really badly for myself. I desperately wanted to get out of the ownership realm and back into coaching. So I approached them. and I'll never forget it. It was at Renee's house in Venice, and I told him the situation. And they have another partner, Luke. What's up, Luke? Who they had to consult with, and in no time they said yeah. So after that was its own thing as far as the opening of Spry, and there was the regular city snafu, and it was a journey. Like even though it was poetic the way it turned out, there were still the typical problems relative to gym ownership and finding the right space in the right location with the right price, and then going through all the things with the city. If you're an owner at all, any kind of small business, it doesn't just have to be a gym. You already know the pain in the butt that's involved with that, and just the straight up unfairness of certain policies. We'll see if we can touch on those things or not, but the ride has been crazy, man, because that stuff happened in mid 2015, and Troy and a bunch of us thought that the gym would open by a certain time, and just as the Murphy's Law is true to real life as any kind of real world situation, nothing went according to plan, and all hindsight is 2020. But I want to introduce you guys now to Mr. Troy Aguila. How's it going, man?
Good.
So, first of all, thanks for coming on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, I think this is it's an important podcast because it's you and the other owners have a lot on your hands as far as not just coaching but running the business and running the gym, and I want people to at least have not access, but I want them to know what's going on in your guys' heads, because I have a unique knowledge and appreciation of what you guys have to go through as owners outside of just coaching.
Yeah.
And I know not everyone knows the decisions that have to be made on a daily basis as far as financial and logistics, and all that stuff is on top of just hanging out with people and teaching them squatting and deadlifting. Like that's actually it's actually a very small part of gym ownership, and I actually go through that on the last podcast I was a guest of, which I'll post pretty soon. But I think to start, let's just where are you from? What inspired you to become a gym owner?
Originally, family is based out of Northern California, Northern Nevada. So I was born in the Bay Area, San Francisco.
Yep.
Raised in good old Reno, Nevada. Ended up in Vegas for 10 years, and that's kind of where I had met Luke. And then we had both moved to LA around the same time around 2008, and both started CrossFit in two separate areas of Southern California, him being down Orange County and me being up in Venice. And kind of the inspiration of starting actually Luke approached me to actually help him open the gym back in Las Vegas, and I was willing to help him, but not willing to really be a partner, because I didn't think I could be a good partner being in California, not wanting to move back to Vegas.
Yeah.
And then after seeing kind of the void in certain areas as far as just gym locations, Playa Vista being in particular, and then also just being a member of a gym and not seeing I mostly come through with the experience of in hospitality, working in a lot of restaurants and stuff like that, but there's just a void I felt was like most people, hey, I think you can do it better.
Yeah.
And being an entrepreneur, having that spirit of always wanting to have a business, that was kind of the other inspiration, truly. And then finding a love for CrossFit and the community aspect and all the good things that go with it. That was everything that made a business and a job feel fun to me, and something we wanted to create.
Awesome.
So, yeah.
Do you remember a time in your head when you were like, okay, I want to open up a CrossFit gym?
Yeah, it was actually after a trip to Mammoth with Luke.
Okay.
I was helping him look at spaces in Vegas and actually look at getting him funding through. There's a redevelopment project in downtown Vegas called Project Downtown, or I forgot the exact words. There's a website, but Tony Shea from Zappos had developed it, a downtown project. And you could literally pitch an idea to them and say, hey, this business should belong in downtown and help with the community, and they would actually fund your business. So it was actually a really cool project.
Oh, wow.
Tony Shea's been super successful. So he had basically ponied up $50 million for redevelopment.
Wow.
So I was actually helping Luke, through some contacts of mine in Vegas, get some of that money, because there was no gym down there.
Yeah.
And then I just happened to start looking at commercial spaces in California, just out of curiosity, to see like price per square foot,
Yep.
different locations. So I started looking, and through my job at that current point, my current job, I was driving around servicing restaurants, so I was always around Santa Monica all the time, and that was our original focus, was to try to go downtown Santa Monica, like within the 4th Street area.
Oh, interesting.
So I remember I texted Luke a picture of a space down there. I know the space, it's right off of like Lincoln and probably like 5th Street or 6th Street, I think.
Huh.
Texted him a picture and I said, "Hey, what do you think of this space?" And he's like, "Where's that?" I'm like, "Santa Monica."
Yeah.
And he's like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "Let's get on a phone call."
Yeah.
So that was kind of like my communication to him, saying like, "Hey, what about doing it here?"
When Luke wanted you to do the phone call, was it more like shock, like, oh crap, you're actually looking at spaces? Was that the nature of the phone call?
Yeah, he was in shock that I was actually looking at spaces in California and wanting to do it with him in California.
Oh, because he thought Vegas.
He thought,
okay.
I was just helping him with Vegas, and he's like, well, I was like, if you're interested in staying here, he's like, yeah, for sure, let's do it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
What were you before this? Like, what was your main job before being a owner?
So my background is in public relations. I graduated with a degree in PR and did PR for a little bit, and quickly found that PR really wasn't my jam.
Yeah.
I worked with some great people, and then I transitioned into advertising sales back in like 2007. A friend of mine that I knew through social circles was starting up a new monthly magazine in Vegas, and he had one person he could hire for his sales team, and he'd come from another sales team with the daily paper in Vegas, the Las Vegas Review-Journal, and he basically said, "I want to hire you," and I was like, "I have no sales experience."
Awesome.
Kind of, why me? And he said, "Don't worry about it. Just come work for me."
Yeah.
So I quit my job. My boss in my PR agency, she refused my resignation. She ripped it up.
Really?
Yeah. She.
Wow.
She actually told me, she's like, I don't see you being successful at sales. And I was like,
man.
well, this guy does, and
Yeah.
and I'm gonna take the chance. So got into that. The recession hit, and then
So this was around 08?
Yeah, 07, 08, and then the recession hit 09. Advertising budgets were basically just gone. Some papers were leaving.
Yep.
Print advertising's kind of gone by its wayside. So at that time, had met my wife, I'm married to now, and we actually traveled around the world for about a year, which was really cool. I'd never been anywhere.
No kidding.
Yeah. At that point, I'd been to Cozumel in 2009. At that point, the only place I'd ever been was Cozumel off on a cruise, and that was probably like maybe 4 hours. You jump off the boat and you get back on, then you go back to Key West and then Miami. So
No kidding.
since then,
I just want to interrupt you really quick because I didn't know. Troy's. I've only known Troy in a really close way the last few years, and he was one of the people that inspired me to travel more, because it seems like him and his wife Christina. Hi, Christina. Him and his wife Christina are always traveling around. And congratulations, they had their first kid, a boy, and that has not stopped them at all from traveling. So that has actually inspired my latest like blitz of traveling. And so it's shocking to me to hear this for the first time, that previous to just the last few years you had not traveled at all. So yeah, sorry, but anyway, that's really awesome. I didn't know.
Yeah. I mean, graduated college in 01, and from 01 to like pretty much that time, what travel was not part of my mind focus. I've always just nose to the grindstone, working, and then my wife kind of opened me up to that. And since then, like you said, you've known this other side of me, because you pretty much know me since I started traveling.
Yes.
At 09.
Yeah.
That's kind of when I started CrossFit over in Venice. Since 09, the wife and I have been to 30 plus countries together. She's been to over 50 countries.
That is insane.
She was my inspiration to travel. So yeah, after that, kind of a little taste of traveling, and then I actually settled down with a job, which was pretty interesting too, because my roommate at the time, he was like, "Hey man, you've done some sales stuff. You grew up in restaurants, so come over work for this company I work for, U.S. Foods, and is a food distributor. It's basically two big broadline distributors in the U.S. U.S. Foods and Cisco, and started working for them, knowing that I could transfer to L.A.
So this was not the same job as the sales job that was offered to you before the pre crash.
Yeah, that was the advertising.
Advertising,
sales. Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, I did that for a couple of years, and then I decided to leave before it all kind of tumbled.
Okay, so you saw the writing on the wall.
Yeah, they were changing some commission structures, and I kind of did a Jerry Maguire on a conference call. It's pretty epic.
I love it.
But yeah, so then ended up getting into the food industry, which brought me to LA, and then I did that up until October 1st of 2017, so last year.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
so
just recent.
Yeah, it was a long time there. Yeah.
Yep. So how does it feel now that you're essentially out of that game and into the gym full time?
It's like anything, and I can kind of look at having a business just like a lot of the restaurant people that I worked with, owners always having a dream to open up a restaurant. And then they get into it and they're like, oh yeah, this is not like what I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
And I have a buddy who, real good close friend of mine, he talented, awesome guy, and he wanted to open a bar, and he opened up this awesome bar in Denver, and we always like to say, like, between him and I, opening a business is tough. It's hard when you have partners. Obviously, that makes it, a little bit more challenging, I think, in some senses, just because you're dealing with in my case, two other people.
Yes.
But like with most things, if you're not challenging yourself, you're not growing. So
of course,
not to say that to avoid partnerships. It just just like all things, there's challenges in business and in partnerships. But we always say, like, opening a business is like basically like paying for an MBA.
Yes.
Yeah. It's
in more ways than one.
It's a homeschooling of an MBA in many cases.
Yeah.
But like I say, if you're not challenging yourself, you're not growing, then what's the use?
Yeah, I mean, I want to really dig into that as well, because the truth is, this is my 4th episode hosting. I have no idea who my listeners are, even though I love everyone who does listen. I just want to. It's just important for me to get as much insight and quality out there as possible, and that it stays out there. But I want to dig into that a little more, because I'd love to have your insights on the ownership side, and I want to make it circular, right? So in the beginning, because hindsight is 2020, what did you think it was going to be versus how it actually was, versus how it actually is?
Well, I think the landscape of CrossFit gym ownership, and that's kind of a loose term.
Yeah. Like
studios, especially within our space, that has changed over. I mean, since the time that we even conceived opening the gym to when it opened, even to now.
Yeah.
I mean, in the heydays of CrossFit, you would throw CrossFit on the side of a building, open the doors, and 300 people would walk right through.
Yeah.
Was that good and bad? Yeah, there's a lot of good, and there's also a lot of negatives, and there's a lot of that stuff affected our business today and how it operates. And we operate, as you know, in a little bit different than most gyms that open up out there. And like the old saying within our circles, gymming ain't easy.
Gymming ain't easy.
But so yeah, I think, and I accepted the fact that there was the wave of CrossFit, and the popularity of it had changed within the time frame that we thought of opening the business, and then when it actually opened. But I was happy in the sense of the way that we do what we do, as far as intaking people and not just letting anyone and everyone walk through that door.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, we value what we do, and we don't really look at ourselves as a commodity. So we don't. It's not a race to the bottom to try to get everyone through those doors.
Yes, absolutely. Looking back, what could you name some things that you would do differently, or if you could go back to 2014, pre-Spry opening Troy, what would you advise him?
Yeah, great question. I think that in a lot of senses, we really wanted to go big.
Okay.
And I think in a lot of senses to maybe rethink, footprint, starting off at a smaller scale and then scaling bigger as you grow. And that could be with a lot of different things, equipment purchases, just different ways. I mean, no one knew that, we were gonna have a prolonged build out, and that was gonna take a lot more capital, et cetera, et cetera. But in many ways, that we could have started and done a lot of things quicker, without the grandioso trying to go big, as instead of going home, kind of.
Yes.
Those are some what ifs, but
Sure.
But at the end of the day, I think I learned a lot, and I think my partners learned a lot about the process that we went through, and we are where we are right now, and now we have to deal with that and go and move forward.
Yeah.
Just like most businesses. So I mean, you learn in hindsight. It did also allow for the three of us as partners. It did allow a period of us to kind of work on being partners.
Yes.
If we grabbed a space and one day later turned the keys and walked in, the three of us wouldn't really know how to operate as partners, and that would in turn also affect the business. It would affect how we made decisions, a lot of different things. So
I never thought about that.
Yeah.
I never thought about that.
So in some ways, that the prolonged build out and us opening actually kind of allowed us as well time to grow individually and together, and then also a lot of the things that we were trying to figure out within the Mad Lab system. Some of those things were developed within that time period as well.
Yes. I never thought about that because, when I lost mine, it was such a negative, smarting experience for me, and it was my fault. It was my responsibility ultimately, but I left with such a bad taste in my mouth. It was the MO after that. If anyone approached me to go into another venture or open another business, it was basically like, partners are for dancing, bro. Like, that is it. Like, I will be sole owner and proprietor of anything else after this, and I carried that for maybe 2 years, and I'm as I venture more into the entrepreneurship world and the ownership world, I'm starting to see the costs and benefits of those things.
Yeah.
But it never occurred to me that all the stuff we went through in 2016 and even into today would force you guys to be better partners. Just like how I would say all I've got is like, if you start a marriage and all of a sudden the shit hits the fan and you've got like a year to go through some heavy stuff together, but it actually forces you to communicate better, to grow as people and to grow as partners. That is something I didn't consider. Like, you could actually come out of it stronger and better together. That is awesome.
Yeah. I mean, I think if we, one day, say day one, we say, okay, we're all three going to be partners, and then 6 months from there, we're right into a marriage. It's almost like people that have a short period of dating, then they're married.
Right.
We actually kind of were able to date a little bit longer.
Yeah.
And kind of figure each other out, who has strengths here and that. And so in hindsight, for us, I think that was a good thing. For the business, yeah, it was good, and it also was a bad thing for the business, because that long period also was taking up time to open a business and start generating revenue, etc.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like well, which one was better, if we opened up sooner and we kind of are clashing as partners more,
Yes.
or if we kind of dated longer. It's
Right. Yeah.
So at the end, I look at it as like, hey, it happens how it should happen.
Yeah.
And like most things, you have a picture of how you want it to happen, but sometimes it doesn't happen that way. But
Of course.
it's kind of like every day.
Yeah, I mean, it's awesome to watch. I give them a hard time sometimes, just because it's like, I'm not an owner anymore, so I don't have those ownership headaches anymore, and to watch them go through it is hard to watch as a friend and as a colleague, but it's just like watching your buddies argue with their spouses. It's like the best thing ever. You just have to laugh, because it's not going to last, and they're going to make up and blah blah blah. But can you speak to the dual existence of greatest challenges of being a gym owner and greatest joys of being a gym owner, or business owner?
Yeah, I mean, greatest challenge of being a business owner is, time management, where to apply yourself within the business, especially when you have partnerships. Really, I mean, personally for me, delegating.
Okay.
That personally for me, it's delegating things and trying to not do everything by yourself. That's probably been one of my greatest challenges.
Yep. Same.
Yeah, I think, and we're similar. I think in personality at some points. Greatest joys. I mean, perfect example would be like this last weekend. We had 24 of our 24 people and members up and friends of the gym up at Mammoth.
Awesome.
And it was great to reflect from the trip that we did last year from this year.
Yeah.
A lot of the stuff is seen outside the gym. The friendships, the bonds. We have a softball league. Like we were able to like laugh and make fun of each other.
Yeah.
Then just seeing people, personal friends of mine who've come in the gym. Like I have a real good friend, Mark Kermanugian.
Mark.
What's up, buddy?
Mark.
Who's the guy had known the guy from, I say kid, we're over 40 now.
Yeah.
But I've known him since middle school. 6 knee surgeries between the 2 knees.
That is crazy.
He's rocket scientist, worked for big aerospace companies, and so a lot of stress in his life, but a lot of joy. And having him tell me like I need Spry.
Yeah.
So I mean, the greatest joy is seeing people appreciate, enjoy the space, and also the kind of the crew and community we've built.
Yeah.
That's to me the best of seeing people enjoy each other and having fun doing what we do. It's not easy to walk through those doors and get down and grindy, but I think at the end of the day, if you like the people that are in those 4 walls and you like them outside of the gym, that makes it all the best.
Oh yeah. No, it's a passion play for sure. It's something that we believe in with all of our hearts.
Yeah.
So could you mirror that with what some of the greatest challenges are with ownership?
Yeah, I mean, like, obviously, you having people really close to you too, it's challenging to not only, be people's friends, but also be, the owner of the gym as well. There's lines you have to draw within business and relationships. So that's a hard thing. At times, but I think at the end of the day, for the most part, people understand that. I always think just gymming ain't easy.
No. Yeah. I feel like it's kind of like
everybody thinks it's all roses and sunshine.
It's from the outside. It's like, oh yeah, my name's Ed. My name's Troy. I own a gym. They must think like, oh, you just get to work out all day and tell people what to do. That is the last thing you get to do is work out whenever you want.
Yeah,
it's the last thing because everything else comes first. If you're trying to do it right, you actually get you get less workout time and fatter and softer. I was never as out of shape and soft than the first 3 months of gym ownership.
Yeah. I mean, you're spending time there. You're with clients, you're with class, or you're just doing random things.
Yeah.
I've learned so many things just in general in life, and my wife gets amazed. She's like, "Well, I didn't know you know how to fixing windows." I didn't know either.
Yeah.
I had YouTube.
Yeah.
There's just random things you just have to figure out and get done around a facility.
Oh yeah. I mean, just because you can't pay someone to do it, you're already strung out and drawn out fund wise.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, so that window's broken. We can't hire anyone to do that. Oh, there's plumbing problems. Can't hire anyone to do that.
Yeah. Well, thank God we have all brand new plumbing. So.
Yes. So you've gone through a lot of personal change as well, a lot of personal growth while the gym was being open. I saw you. I didn't see, but you went from, married, opening up a gym to now father. You said you had your first kid while the gym was opening up.
Yeah.
And then just managing that. Could you speak to what that was like and what the challenges were and how it kind of, whether, I don't want to use the word force, I don't think that's entirely fair, but you were put in a position where you had to grow as a person. I can only imagine.
Yeah, I mean, Girl, I mean, even being married, I think, I mean, at least, well, I mean, for me, gaining that title as a husband, I was like, okay, now like I have this new title, like I took it on. I was like, okay, like I have a greater responsibility to my wife.
Yeah. When did you get married?
We got married in 2014, May 31st.
Awesome. And how long were you guys together before that?
We were together since late '08. So.
Okay. Awesome. So like 6 years?
You know, before we were married, it was about 5 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Just over 5 years. We did long distance 2 years.
Wow.
Before I moved here.
Was the 2 years like early? Like right when you guys met? Was it early in the relationship? You guys had to do a long distance thing?
Oh yeah, it was right. It was from the get go.
From the get go.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. We did the first year solid, where I legitimately lived in Vegas, and then like I said, I left my job, and then I was kind of back and forth because we were traveling a lot too. So
yeah.
A lot of that year we were out of the country.
Yeah.
So that and then we did like kind of like that last part of the second year long distance, and then I was able to transfer my job here.
Awesome. Christina, please don't be mad at him if some of the dates are off, or if he's not sure.
I got all the dates.
Yeah. So could you describe what that was like to go from, because you went from the job that you had then into another sales job, into gym ownership, and I can only imagine you trying to juggle a relationship and then getting married, and during the marriage having your first kid. Congratulations, first kid, while the gym is still trying to be is opening. So could you describe what that experience was like?
Yeah, I mean, it's it was hard to, you think about all that. It's like I have a corporate job.
Yeah.
Getting married, at that time when I was getting married, we were working on, at that time Vice, which is Spry, and then throughout the marriage, working on opening this business while still working a full-time job that was, almost 6-7 days a week kind of a job where it was always something was always tugging at me, and then you fold a pregnancy in there, moving into a new home. There's a lot of stressful points there, and thank God for my wife. She was always by my side, always supporting me, even in the tough times where a lot of my attention was put forth towards the opening the gym.
Yeah.
And all the stress that comes with that, as far as funding and all stuff that we put forth.
Yep.
But at the end of the day, she knows that it was a passion, and we had to get it done. So, I mean, having the kid has changed a lot of different things. That was most recently.
Yeah.
Being in the gym sometimes early in the morning and then late at night. I really look at my schedule so I can make sure that I'm home at night to at least see Isaac. Not every night, but that's a conscious thought of like, okay, how much time am I putting in at nighttime and missing out on seeing him and stuff like that. But it's just I think at the end of the day now it's just prioritizing and finding a good balance. But I think there's always going to be challenges. There's going to be ebbs and flows with the business.
Yep.
And like I said, my wife has been a big support, so I really appreciate that.
Yeah. One of the things I admire about Troy, to the listeners, he has a very cool Miles Davis, unflappable manner to him. Very like I can watch 5 or 6 things getting thrown full speed at him, and his demeanor and expression will be the same as if he was chilling on the beach in Malaysia somewhere. And I'm not like that. I'm very I allow myself to experience every range of the spectrum of emotions and reactions and feelings, even though I try to keep my logic and my wits. I'm very volatile and, dare I say, like Mike Tyson-y like that. But so I love watching Troy go through all these things, and so I want to ask, could you give some keys as to how to maintain just the balance of all those things that are tugging at you, right?
Yeah.
Because I've covered things in the past few podcasts where, for example, in a marriage there are not two people but there are three people.
Yeah.
Right? There's Troy, there's Christina, and then there's Troy and Christina.
Yeah, yeah.
And then there's Isaac.
Yep.
And then there's gym ownership. So could you, for people out there who are in a situation where they are married and they have, they're committed to somebody, they're also committed to a cause,
Yeah.
and they're also committed to a child, could you give some keys as to how to keep that going and to keep it not just going as in existing, but going and thriving and prospering? Like what is, I know it's not just one thing.
No, yeah. Even in partnership, you can even look at that, and most people should look at that as like you're almost in a marriage with your partners too.
Yes.
And in most cases, if they're married, you have to take in consideration their spouses, because obviously, emotionally, they're going to be connected with their spouse, and that's going to affect. If I come home stressed, that's going to affect my wife. So, my partner should take in consideration, like, hey, how does this business affect not only Troy, but it's going to affect his family life. And I look at that with my partners, like, how is the business not only going to affect my partner, but how is it going to affect his family? If they have a kid, or in our case, one of our other partners, Renee, is married and he has a son. So I take into now, especially now I have a son.
Yeah.
I take in consideration that. So, but to answer your question, it kind of goes back to that quote that I gave you in the beginning. What lies behind us and what lies ahead of us are tiny matters compared to what lies within us, and it's kind of like all the stuff that happened in the past, like stuff that could happen in the future, are really doesn't really matter, because what lies within you matters the most, because that's what's going to take care of everything, I think. And that's kind of something I've lived on for a long time, because I feel like if I'm good within myself, I can't really have anxiety about what's going to come ahead of me.
Yeah. I like that.
If I'm able to stay calm and be level-headed and really work on me being a better person, a better husband, a better father, a better partner within my business, a better businessman, a better entrepreneur, things in front of me will fall the way they should fall.
I like that.
And if I'm really if I'm so concentrated on like something that was so bad that happened last week or when I started the business, that's only going to inhibit me in the way I move forward. So when I found that quote, it really spoke to me at a time in my life where I was really holding on to what had recently happened to me in the past, and I just kind of looked at it and I said, I just need to look within.
Yeah.
And as long as I'm looking within, a lot of those other things that will fall. And another thing that I really live on is like to be rich in relationships. If you're rich in relationships,
yes,
you'll be rich in life. So you treat people well. You really have genuine love for people or genuine relationships. Things will happen, I think, positive for you. So I think those things kind of help me with all the things that are thrown at me as far as like challenges and all the different roles I play within my own life. Like I said, father, husband, even to my own immediate family, a son, a brother.
Yeah.
I feel like as long as I'm constantly looking within myself to improve, I think some of the natural things that come out of that are going to be good.
Yeah.
Going forward.
I like that. Because I think the answer I was expecting was not at all the answer that you gave, and it's amazing because what I was expecting was like, there has to be love and there has to be trust, and I was expecting a list of attributes, right? But actually what I got was a framework of priority and a framework of cause and effect, where
exactly.
Where it's like every decision I make affects my children and my wife and the wives and children of my partners. And that was not, and I think that's something I understand, but from a very far away place. And but the fact that you were able to bring it full circle with it's not what happened before, it's not what's going to happen, but what's on the inside and how I deal with it, and it helps keep you grounded.
It's I think it's like cause and effect. I mean, and it's like how what's happening within me. If I have a bad attitude, or that's gonna affect outcomes when I walk through the door at the gym, decisions I make with my partners, a lot of different things. So yeah, I feel like if I just look inward and grow from there,
Yeah.
decisions can be made better. Choices I make throughout the day can be made better, and hopefully, the sun will shine brighter the next day.
Awesome, man. I love it. I love it. So let's go there then. Like, so for the world at large, and for our current members and our current staff, when people see Spry Society on the internet, or when people hear Spry Society around our neighborhood, which is Playa Vista,
Yeah.
Westchester, Culver City, when people hear the name Spry Society, when people pass by it on the gym, like when they see it, what do you want them to think? Like, what is the immediate like I can say brand recognition, but
Yeah.
I feel like that's a little misappropriated. What do you want people's first impression to be when they hear Spry Society?
I'd love a nice smile.
Okay, yeah, I like that.
Um,
Again, I'm blindsided because I'm thinking like fitness and health.
Yeah.
But yeah, the smile thing it's like, what else do you need? Like, what else is there besides that?
Yeah, I mean, for people that know us, obviously thinking about health and wellness, the fitness side of it, and the fun that we have there. I often think about that as well. Like, okay, well, what do I think of when I think about Spry Society? And for me, it's always like, for our members and myself, like I hope they like smile, like, oh yeah, like, oh, it's fun, like I love it. And the fitness for most people from the outside looking in is like, okay, well, what, like the curiosity of, whoa, what are these guys doing if they're looking at something that we have on social media, the curiosity of a child looking at something. It's like, oh, like, wow, what is that? Like, what something that they feel like they're missing. Like, what are these guys doing that I mean, it looks so great. But yeah, I think overall just joy of living and being.
Mm-hmm.
I think the majority of our members and even our coaches, they really have a joy for life.
Yes.
And I think that's what we find within the Spry Society and within our gym. And that's kind of what we want to perpetuate. I think if people having a joy of life, and most of that in our building is done through fitness.
Yes.
But also, I think a lot of that is done through the personalities and the people that we are within that building. So that's kind of where that smile comes from.
I love it, man. I love it. It's like I wasn't expecting that. That has changed right this second, changed my view on how I myself kind of see Spry Society, because I see it as a sacred mission, and I see it as a very high duty, not high obligation, but it's an extremely sacred responsibility of mine to perpetuate fitness. But notice how there's very little fun in that statement. Whereas even though I do have so much fun with it and I love it to death.
Yeah. Your point of view is spot on as far as like the mission part of it.
Yeah.
But I know from you and even from myself, like when I just spoke about that, the spirit of it is very much of what I'm speaking to.
Yes.
Versus more like the mission. Like obviously the mission is, we want people to be healthy. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of sickness going on, but if you look at like when you say, okay, like the smile, it's like you have so much spirit and fun in things that we do there, and you bring so much joy to people. Like for me, like that's what
I like.
That's
it.
like it's another angle.
Yes,
it's like same but different angle. Right?
Yeah, and to be more fair to your answer, that was the question I in fact asked. Like when people hear Spry Society, what is it that they should feel?
Yeah.
That I actually like that a lot. Maybe I was actually asking that for myself to some extent, and I want to because from Troy and by extension from Mark, because I want to bring this full circle in a nice way. It was from Troy where I first learned that if you want to be rich in life, you have to be rich in relationships. Or if you are, I forgot exactly how it was said, but it's like if you are rich in relationships, you are rich in life, kind of thing. And it's so true. It's so true, because I've been in situations where I've made a lot of money, but I was just miserable and unhealthy. And I'm not saying that it's mutually exclusive, because I know that you can be you can live in wealth and abundance and fulfillment at the same time.
Oh, yeah.
But I have never been more fulfilled and happy than when I knew I had made a positive difference in people's lives, and when they recognize that and they've made a difference in my life. And the things that come out of that, obviously it starts at the gym, but the things that come out of that were so pure and so good. And that is absolutely true. And I have very wealthy friends and clients. I have middle class, clients. I have destitute some people too. And the wealthy ones will be the first ones to say that your health is the most important thing, and your relationships with people is in fact the key to being successful in business, which just rings true over and over and over again. Yep. And it was actually from Mark, who you brought to the gym. Mark, who has experienced so much positive effect. Yeah. It was him. We were talking about balancing full-time work with having children, and we were talking about Western civilization versus Eastern civilization, or kind of the individualistic prized society versus the family prized society, where children, the art of raising children, Mark said it takes a village, and that fucked up my program, man, because I know dick about it, but I've watched, I think in the last 6 months we've had 5 or 6 members have children, right?
Yeah,
and when I ask them about that, and I see them bring their kids to the gym, and in my head it's so crazy, because the gym is the village, right? Because when you think about it, you go to other countries and stuff, when people have a child, literally there's a large extended family. They're almost always they're either under 1 or 2 roofs, and so the child is always surrounded by a family member, and the parents have help. Yeah. But here, in a society that prizes like progress and innovation and the individual, that's actually, I feel like that's an extremely foreign concept. Yeah. And you either have to pay for help or pay for a village, lest you have your own extended family. And so when that made so much sense to me, because the child will grow up in the environment, and if they grow up with seeing adults do things that we do, like running and rope climbing and deadlifts and clean and jerks and squats, that's going to be normal for them, and I think that's so true, and it's so important, for because you have Isaac, who's how old is Isaac now?
Isaac's just over 1.5 years now.
Yeah, and so he sees the gym, he sees all the stuff, and when Christina brings him to the gym, he's like running around and playing with all the stuff. I think it's fantastic. Yeah. I think it's great. And I don't know, I think in my own head I'm trying to reconcile, for people who are not a part of a gym, or people who are not a part of a community, in what village will the child grow up in? And so that's kind of I don't think that's for this podcast, but I think it's great that the gym supplies not just a village for the adult, not just
very much.
You know what I mean, not just like a fully formed, fully furnished, dare I say, friendship network. Like I can visit any city and just go to a gym, and all of a sudden there's like instant friends. Of course, like it's after the workout, after you've proven yourself. But here in the gym, we see each other naked every day. We see each other like emotionally naked every day. And we reveal parts of ourselves to our friends that we don't reveal to our family. And on a daily basis, we come in and put out for years and years. So a side effect of that is just built-in default trust and love. And the child, or a baby, is sensitive to those things, and they can feel those things. And so I think it's great. It's like it's awesome. But if people want to, how can people contact you?
Troy at sprysociety.com, or info@sprysociety.com.
Okay, and we are on Facebook and Instagram.
Spry Society.
Yeah. What do you see for the next 3 to 5 years for Spry?
Just building out the community as we've done so far.
Okay.
Hopefully expansion within our own space as far as the facility, and just for overall, just more fun with everything and everyone that we have in the building. Probably some different programs. Who knows? In the area that we're in, there could be some kids programs. But I mean, it would probably be expansions of services and facility as needed.
Okay.
There's a lot of people we can help within the space, and I know there's talks with even our own coaches now of looking at different programs to offer.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, we wish we could have everyone in the building, and we believe and love what we do.
Yeah.
But that just takes time.
Of course.
Trying to reach them.
What I want to give all my guests pretty much at the closing of each episode, I want to give them a voice and a platform to speak to what they do. I want to give them a way to reach out to the world and give the world a place to contact them. But also I want to give you sell your stuff, take an elevator pitch, or take 30 seconds or a minute and just sell your stuff. This is going to be cool because we're both in the fucking same, we work in the same spot.
I'm pitching you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so, it's funny because I think this will be my first time actually doing this, and I want to continue doing it. But for people listening, could you give a 30-second or a minute, sell you and sell Spry and sell our services?
Yeah, I mean, if you live in the area in Playa Vista and you've ever thought about working out at a gym or getting into fitness, I encourage you to come by, talk to one of the coaches, schedule a consult. And like I said, beyond just the fitness stuff, the spirit of the fun things that we do, and like Zeb had touched on, you really get in touch with yourself through our programs and through just their own hard work that you put through, and really connecting with yourself and then just haphazardly be with other people. And I think in life, if you want to grow as a person, not only physically but mentally, emotionally, it's a great way to do it through exercise and through the things we do at Spry. And the byproduct of that is going to be a better life. Like I said, probably more smiles and sunshine.
Awesome. I'm almost in tears listening to that. Like, I want to sign up for that program, even though I'm already in the gym. Yeah, I agree. I'm going to build on, like, if you live in Playa Vista, Culver City, Westchester, and that's just the vicinity, right? Like, I have someone from fucking Reseda who comes here at 6 a.m.
And that just goes to the testament of why he comes.
Oh yeah,
it's because it's not because the squats.
Yes, it's not for the squats.
No,
it's not for the deadlifts.
Yeah.
It's for the stuff beyond that.
Yeah.
So check us out. Troy, thanks for being on the show. This has been great.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right, talk to you later.
Ciao.